I started walking to the back, and he grabs me back. He said, "Young fella, you got to sit next to me." I'm like, "Why do I have to sit?" Because he's a loser. He's a loser, and they're never going to win. So LaSalle Thompson wasn't one of the guys he pointed. He's like, "You can't call these guys losers. You know, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm trying to trade them. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants them. And if you don't believe me, you can come in the office and sit with me." So Bill.
大家好，我是文伦。活塞又输了，在今天输给塞尔提克后，他们正式追平14-15年7有人创下的跨季28连败。这场比赛呢，对活塞来说非常可惜哦。上半场一度领先到21分，不过就如 Shaq 在今天的影片中会跟我们说的一样
I hate playing against the bad teams that had like the 13-14 game losing streak. Because you didn't want to be the team that they broke the streak.
睡了半场的塞尔提克不想送幸福，在下半场展开大反攻，靠着 KP 还有联盟中最被低估球员之一 Derek White 的优异表现，演出大逆转。最后他们在延长赛6分获胜，让活塞整整2个月都没有尝过赢球滋味。虽然说胜败乃兵家常事，有人赢当然就有人输，但是输球的感觉当然没有人喜欢。尤其是能进入 NBA 的球员，都是从小就是顶尖运动员。在进入 NBA 前，他们几乎是打爆所有对手，输球对他们来说肯定就比一般人更加难受。今天的传奇球师聊天信中，球们将会讨论在烂队打球的经验，他们是怎么样苦中作乐，不断的输球又会让他们跟队友的关系有什么样的变化。话不多说，我们马上开始。
Kind of a little segment we're calling Humor Me, and if you cannot find the humor in playing on a bad team, I don't know how you survive it. And I think most of you have played on teams that were subpar. And Kenny's already got his hand raised. I think about the fact that Kenny, you played on a team that what you were. I'm trying to think of what your record was.
Not good,
but it was not good. Was it tough to play every night? Did you often take the floor knowing you were going to lose, that the Sacramento Kings were going to lose that night?
No, you have a delusion that you're going to win games. But
in fact, you were 24-58.
Yeah, you have a delusion, but, you know, Bill Russell at the time was our coach, and we had an interesting concept with me as a rookie. He said to me on the bus, he said, "You're going to have to sit next to me on the bus the whole time." And I was like, I didn't want to do that. I'm like, I don't want to sit next to the coach the bus and the plane rides and everywhere. I started walking to the back, and he grabs me back. He said, "Young fella, you got to sit next to me." I'm like, "Why do I have to sit?" Because he's a loser. He's a loser, and they're never going to win. So LaSalle Thompson wasn't one of the guys he pointed. He's like, "You can't call these guys losers. You know, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm trying to trade them. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants them. And if you don't believe me, you can come in the office and sit with me." So Bill Russell was a very keep it real coach.
Were those losses tough to take, Kenny? I mean, when you lose 58 games in a season, I'm imagining that from when you started playing organized basketball, you hadn't lost 58 games in your life.
No. I mean, it's difficult. And my agent used to say you could tell when the season started by looking at what I was spending, my spending habits, because in the season I would spend more money trying to please myself and make myself up. So I would spend money. I would buy things for myself.
Tell me, Kenny, what kind of items would you buy?
I would buy all these kind of things just to make myself feel better. You spend more money because you know you're losing. But the last part about it is, in practice, Coach Russell really didn't run practice that much. So he would let Willis Reed run the practices. So he would read the paper. He was kind of like Bear Bryant. So he's sitting down, he's reading the paper, and all of a sudden I look over and you see him sleeping in practice. So he kind of stumbles and everyone laughs. And he's like, "Everybody out of practice. If y'all wasn't so damn boring, I wouldn't be sleeping here." You was out of practice for us being boring, for him falling asleep.
1994-95, C. Webb, you're in Washington and your team goes 21-61. That was pretty funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was real funny, especially coming from Golden State where we went to the playoffs the year before. But one thing I think this happens on every bad team is everybody starts out the season kumbaya. We love each other.
Kumbaya.
We gonna do it. We gonna make it. You got guys that getting the same tattoos and all this, and then In the middle of the season. In the middle of the season, you know, you just see it. It all starts with guys' shot selection. You win 2, you lose 2, you lose 3 games, and a guy that, you know, had a good practice last week, he takes a 3-point shot he never should have taken. The coach don't say nothing. No, you have guys fighting that used to be mentors, that used to be cool, and that in D.C. was the first time that I just saw dysfunction. I come from, you know, pretty good winning in college, pretty good winning in high school, and there I saw, okay, when you lose, guys turn at each other's throats, and you got to watch out. Guys are going for their numbers, and that was the main way, you know, seeing guys go get their numbers.
Mark Price and I always used to get the same tattoos in training camp. Same ones. Please do tell. I'll show them later. No, but actually,
big fist right there.
Yeah, that's right. No, but I was thinking, you know, I was like the luckiest guy ever. I mean, I played on 2 teams in 15 years that didn't make the playoffs. One was your rookie year, and we barely missed. Right. We went 41-41 with Orlando.
Right. Way to
barely
blame
missed
Shaq
the
for that one.
playoffs. Yeah. But the other one was in Cleveland just because of injuries. But other than that, I was on great teams. But I was thinking about Steve Smith and I actually were in the same game, biggest blowout in NBA history.
Thanks, Steve.
Remember that?
Yeah,
I just thought I'd remind.
remember.
I still remember the score, 148-80.
80.
And was that your rookie year?
No, it wasn't my rookie year.
That wasn't the game you scored 23.
Who was you checking?
No, it wasn't.
Who was the game you scored 24?
Was that the game you scored 24?
Who was Steve checking?
I do remember that.
Sound like
Yeah, you should
like
remember that.
You know, and Kevin Lockwood was unreal with stories. I mean, every time the timeout, he came out and says, "You know what? We're not going to win this game."
Oh, really?
But see what you're made of. You're like, we're not that good right now. I mean, we were getting blown out. I think at one time we were down 70 points at one time.
But then you cut it to 68.
Yeah, we cut it to
end.
68, yeah. We were down 70.
How about playing teams, Charles, that you knew were bad? And that this should be a stat night for you. This should be no problem.
I think it's a stat night for the bad players, to be honest with you. Like when you're a star, most of the plays are designed to go to you. You're going to always get your numbers. I always look when we play the bad team, the guys who are going out working hard in practice every day who don't get in the game, I always try to make a concentrated effort to get them going. Because they're not going to have 20 points that often. I mean, stars going to average 20, so it's no big deal. But there are guys like the 11, 12 guys, 8, 9, 10, who they might not get 20 maybe once a year if they're lucky. I always looked at it as an opportunity to like, okay, let me try to get those guys going.
Oh, you were Robin. That's the way for.
But now
you were Robin Hood. But that's the way. But that's the way though, as a leader, especially for team chemistry. And you know, when you play against a bad team, the guys that practice all week and you know that go hard, they're doing the extra things. They never get any shine. You're right. That's the time to get
that's
a big
the time
lead
to get them
and let them get their work in.
But those are teaser games when you're playing against bad teams because you know you're going to get your numbers.
Yeah.
But we used to go into games when we would play bad teams and be like, you know what? Let's let them hang around until the fourth quarter so they think they're going to have a shot to win the ball game. And then, you know, as great teams do, you could turn it on and turn it off anytime.
Cruel.
Bad, you're right. And that's what the NBA is. It's a cruel game. And that's what we used to do with bad teams. Let them hang around to the 5-minute mark. It'd be a 2 or 3 point game. And then you end up winning by 15 points.
Shaq, have you played on what you'd characterize as a bad team?
Not really. I just used to hate playing against the bad teams that had like the 13, 14 game losing streak. Because you didn't want to be the team that they broke the streak.
So you really paid attention. Paid attention to that. People would say, "Hey, they don't want to be the team," but you're really thinking that.
And then, believe it or not, a lot of those games were hard because you know everybody's professional, but you know these guys like really play hard. So you would always have to get into playoff mode. You know, you would really have to play to compete because you didn't want to be the team that lost. I mean, that got beat by a team that just lost 15 in a row.
Hakeem used to always joke about playing bad teams, and he'd come in the locker room. He's like, "Oh, tonight's my night off. My night off." He said, "But not you, Kenny. Not you, Cassell, because there's never bad guards on bad teams." So when we played Dallas,
here you go. Like, hold on. It's a lot of bad guards. It's a lot of bad guards. But it's bad everything else.
Hold on.
This is what I'm saying.
I'm going to tell you what he said. I'm just telling you what the greatest center I know said.
The last segment, you said you
ain't no bad guards.
At half, and y'all down by 11. That ain't no bad guards.
No, guards. I'm telling you.
So guards got to play hard every night. Big fellas could take night off. That's what you said.
I'm just telling you what he said.
Come
Hakeem would say, I only had to play.
Kenny.
He said, I only had to play 5 times.
But a big guy's always going to be big. A big guy's always going to be big. You heard the thing, you can't teach height.
There's only 5 guys that Shaq had to play against every night.
You mean great centers. I agree with that.
But there's great guards on bad teams.
And when the guard passed you, Shaq had to leave his best man to come help.
There's never great centers. There's never great centers on bad teams.
You were the president of the Little Man Foundation.
Can you think of a great center who's on a bad team? Never. Great guards on bad teams. Thank you very much.
So are you saying Hakeem had the night off like he wouldn't, his numbers would be down?
He's like, it'll be 25 easy. It'll be easy 25 tonight, and I could just sit down and go. He said I'd have to play against Shaquille, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, and then he'd go, I got to think about it after that.
You know what I wonder when I hear you tell
Rick
that
Smith.
story? Here's what
I'm saying, I didn't think he put him in that list.
Yeah, here's what I wonder. I would say 90% of your stories, Kenny, include a mention of Hakeem.
No question.
I'm wondering what percentage of Hakeem stories have a mention of Kenny.
But I'll tell you what,
I don't think it's anywhere.
You got to know where your bread is buttered. I'm happy. Thank you, Hakeem, again. One more mention. That's why I'm here, T.O.
I don't like you. No look.
那今天这一集比较轻松，不过影片的结尾常常做节目效果的 Kenny 发表了烂球队不一定会有烂后卫的看法，引起了 Shaq 跟 Webber 2个人抗议。2个人都说我们以前待过的烂队的后卫都很烂啊。不过其实呢，我个人是同意 Kenny 的说法的。我认为他想表达的是，有好的大个子球员的球队就不会太烂。虽然现在篮球是大3分时代，但我认为在其他条件一致下，一个好的内线或者大个子球员对球队的影响力还是大于后卫跟侧翼球员。我们这里讲的不是能不能拿冠军，毕竟这牵扯到太多其他因素，而是如何提升球队的实力。那这里我们就来比较一下历史上一些最优秀的内线球员跟其他位置的球员，球队整体的战绩。那考虑到不同时代、球风不同、联盟竞争力不同等等，我们就先把范围缩小在90年代以后的球员。另外，我们这里指的战绩是该球员有出席的场次，缺席的比赛我们就不列入考虑。内线球员方面，我们就直接引用90年代的4大中锋 Shaq、大梦、Robinson 还有 Ewing。那 Shaq 呢，他连新秀年球队都有50%胜率，在之后的5年，球队的总战绩是228胜97败，胜率高达 70%， 平均每季可以有57胜。他的生涯总胜率是 67.9%， 换算到胜场是每季56场。在19年的生涯中，他只有被交易到太阳的07-08赛季的单季胜率在50%以下。大梦也是一样的情况，他整个生涯只有99-00年的胜率不到50%，而且当季他已经37岁了，上场时间只有23.8分钟。其实他已经不是球队的主力球员了。大梦生涯18个赛季中只有1个胜率不到50%。总生涯胜率是 59.1%， 平均每季48胜。海军上将 David Robinson 就比前面2个人更猛啦，他生涯14个赛季中没有1个胜率在50%以下。扣除掉因伤只打了6场的96-97年，个人单季胜率最低的是92-93年的 59.8%， 他的生涯总胜率是 68.2%， 平均每季的胜场是56场。4大中锋中，生涯胜率最低的是 Patrick Ewing， 但是也有 57.3%， 平均每季的胜场是47场。那摇摆人方面，我选了4个球员，分别是 MJ、LeBron、KD 跟 Kobe。其实我们可以看出，就生涯胜率来说，位置并没有太大的影响。这8个球员中最高的是 Robinson 跟 Shaq， 中间的4个球员都是侧翼球员。不过如果从单季来看，我们就可以观察到一个明显的趋势。Shaq 跟大梦都只有1季的胜率不到50%， Robinson 没有。而反观侧翼球员方面， LeBron 的新秀年跟21-22年都不到50%。18-19年是低空飞过的28胜27败，今年目前是刚好的50%， 14胜14败。而 MJ 跟 KD 生涯也都有数次胜率在50%以下。如果我们把样本数缩小，观察生涯前几年的战绩，可以看到一个更明显的趋势。中锋群的 Shaq、大梦、Robinson 都是一进联盟就可以确保球队保有竞争力。前3年上任的战绩是 Shaq 145胜96败，大梦132胜93败， Robinson 153胜79败。 3个人总共的战绩是430胜268败，前3年的平均胜率有 61.6%。但是这个立即提升球队战绩的现象，在锋卫球员身上却看不到。MJ、LeBron、KD 前3年的战绩分别是 MJ 87胜95败 ，LeBron 121胜117败。KD 生涯前期前2年分别只拿下可怜的19跟18胜，到了第3季才大幅成长到50胜。3个人生涯前3年的总战绩是295胜361败，胜率连 45% 都不到。也就是这3大中锋跟摇摆人在生涯前3年的胜率差了足足有 16.7%。那我个人会认为造成这样的原因，主要是因为在生涯前期，球员的技术普遍都是比较粗糙的，但是大个子球员有天生身材的优势，在护框、卡位、篮板保护等，可以依靠身材还有体能，马上就为球队做出贡献，提升球队的战绩。而锋卫或后卫球员负责的得分、组织球队、球的流动等等，则是比较需要技术以及对比赛的理解提升后，才能在战绩上看到较明显的进步。在这些技术进步之前，好的侧翼或者后卫球员对比赛的影响力，我认为确实是不如大个子球员的。也是因为这样 ，Kenny 才会认为有好的大个子球员的球队肯定不会太差，但烂队却有可能有很好的后卫。更进一步来说，这也是为什么篮球界会有那句千古名言 ：“You can teach ball。”But you can't teach tall。这影片到这边结束了，感谢大家的观看，我们下次见，拜拜。